I didn't know there was a new one.
There is a new one on Peacock.
Yeah, the Peacock.
Oh, it's on Peacock, so it's not gonna be anything worthwhile.
Yeah, it's the WWE produced one that they did.
So it's gonna be just fluff.
Well, here's what's disappointing about it is that
I know that they advertised.
What's disappointing about it is that Rick's been obviously promoted on his show forever, and he kept saying it's like I thought the 30 for 30 was really good.
Yeah,
and he kept saying like this is better. He said, the agreement was like they leave everything in. Like, so I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna go above and beyond. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be repeat stuff or whatever, but I'm hoping are they gonna have, more stuff about his alcoholism, or are they gonna have more stuff about like his falling out with like David and like Arn and what I mean, a bunch of shit or whatever. And like at the end of the day, to me, the 30 for 30 was way better. Like, I was pretty disappointed, and like there really was nothing new. So especially with just everything. The only thing that was like kind of new was like talking about when he went into rehab, or WWE or Triple H sent him to rehab of all people, and that was right before he obviously like went to the hospital. But talking about like how much he was drinking on the plane ride to rehab, and after he got out of rehab, how much he was drinking in a day. I believe him, but like he said when he left rehab, he went to the bar across the street. He said he had like 10 double like tequila and cranberry drinks or something like that, and then a 6-pack of beer and God knows what else, like tequila and cranberry drinks.
Like he's a real winner in and out of the ring.
Yeah. Like tequila and cranberry drinks or something like that.
So he never actually got himself clean then, basically. Like for any real period of time.
Well, he still drank. That's the thing. So he said that like, so basically when Reed died, he said he drank from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day for like 5 years. And like I said, Ric Flair's another one of those guys that, obviously far-fetched stuff, something like that. I halfway believe maybe.
Yeah.
But he said now, like he waits till 5 to drink, but then he said he'll, whatever his routine is, he said he has like some beers, and then he has some like vodka drinks, and then he has some wine, and then he's done drinking by 10 p.m. or something like that.
He drinks a whiskey drink. He drinks a vodka drink. He drinks a... What's that?
So, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, man, I didn't really know what to expect with that. I kind of figured it wouldn't be, since it was WWE produced, it might be a little bit more favorable towards him than some.
It's worth to watch, like, so you guys get your opinion of it and everything, but you're going to watch it and be like, okay, I pretty much know 90% of this already.
So real quick, since we are live and worldwide, let me go ahead and introduce the show, and then we'll kind of get into everything else. So, hello, everybody, and welcome
Zip my pants up.
to another edition of the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast. We are back in 2023. My name is Jason. I'm joined this week by both Kevin and Michael. Thank you guys for joining. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. We are here recording on our normal Tuesday, which is kind of our makeshift time to record. We are kind of experimenting with...
In 2 months, it'll be Wednesday.
We are experimenting with going live on Twitch, so if you want to actually watch the show live as we record it, instead of listening to it on Spotify and CastBox and Stitcher and Google and Apple Podcasts and all that, you can actually join us on twitch.tv. Just search Gimmick Minute. You'll be able to find our live feed, and you'll actually be able to see us as we're going. So... But we'll see how this goes and if it works, because I do not have the greatest internet where I live. So,
shows.
We'll see how well my computer can handle doing this.
So what you're saying is for Mike and I to consistently wear pants on a week-to-week basis.
Please do. Yes.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably not wearing pants right
now.
I
mean, I don't really see where either of you are going to stand up, so I don't think it would be too much of a problem. But
I mean, maybe I get real worked up by a tweet and stand up and yell fucking Mark or something. I don't know.
I mean, the only person that's actually stood up and showed their smile was me. So.
And now look, you've lost your smile.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So anyway, so if you're new to the show, basically what we do on a weekly basis is talk about things that happen in WWE, AEW, and across the wrestling universe. Basically, kind of cover some news stories and things that we saw that have been kind of cool, and kind of go from there. Now, we haven't recorded in the past couple of weeks, so there's been a lot that's happened, and there's probably a lot to get to. We were talking a little bit about the Ric Flair documentary thing that they did on Peacock that WWE produced. I also was going to say that I watched the Vince McMahon thing that Dark Side of the Ring people produced on Vice. Have you guys seen that?
Was that any good?
It's honestly it's okay, but it's one of those things to where it's really just take shots at Vince, like, because he was. It almost kind of reminds me of kind of how the Warrior thing on WWE ended up being, like the ultimate
self-destruction of
Warrior. Because Warrior didn't participate in it, that's kind of what it turned into. And since Vince and nobody from WWE participates in this, that's kind of what this turns into. It's just all these people that were either former employees or just like Meltzer and like all the writers, just basically like
it's Meltzer and Alvarez basically for 2 hours.
They're taking just
I was
veiled
gonna ask
shots.
if there's any like former WWE guys in it or anything.
Not
like that.
and none of note though.
Well,
nobody that was like really like. I guess they got like Jim Ross.
They pulled a lot of stuff from Dark Side of the Rings too.
They did,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. They took all the bad shit from the Dark Side of the Rings that like make him look bad and spun it in like in a bad, like even worse light. Basically, is kind of what they.
Yeah, and I want to add something to the Ric Flair documentary that I also didn't like, is that
you watched it.
No, it's a lot of it was like people that were on there, like the Sam Roberts and the peoples like that. Like they would explain something about like Rick's career or something that happened, and they would explain it to you like you're like a fucking dumbass. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's the point of those, though, because they're trying to get people to watch it that aren't wrestling fans. So I think that's the whole idea, is that you want somebody to try to explain it in almost lamest terms to somebody who doesn't watch wrestling. So that's kind of something that happens in a lot of those, and I think that's the reason why, is that they're trying to get that casual fan to like tune in and learn about it and stuff like that.
Or even someone who may have just been like, oh, I remember Ric Flair as a kid, and they haven't watched wrestling in 30 years.
Yeah. Because I know a guy that he's not a wrestling fan at all, but he loved the Ric Flair 30 for 30 and would watch it multiple times over and over again because he loved the stories and how crazy everything, turned out to be. It's stuff like that, like, the crazy stories about the drinking and stuff like that.
I don't mind some things, but like when you're explaining stuff like WCW was one wrestling company and WWF was another wrestling company. And on Monday nights, one went on at 9:00 and the other went at 8:00, and the one stopped at you know what I mean? It was like stuff like that.
But there's gonna be people that don't know that though, Kev. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, to them it was all wrestling. It was all the WWF.
Well, fuck those people. I don't care. It annoys me.
You don't know Pam.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, hey, let's get into some kind of current stuff and go from there. I want to start off with the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw. Have the 2 weeks ago started with Roman and Paul Heyman on the screen, basically talking about how he's sending the Bloodline in for a takeover, and it basically throughout the whole night they were almost NWO-esque, beating people up backstage at random, right? They were just taking their time, like just going through and just mowing through the entire roster one by one. And it kind of ended with them having a match at the end of the night, and then this week's Raw started off the same way, except they didn't have Roman and Paul to set it up. It literally interrupted the intro to the show, and they're beating the shit out of security and calling people out and stuff like that. And then it led to like a whole host of people that wanted to fight them, and Adam Pearce like apparently trying to take his balls back and be like, oh, the Bloodline's gotten away with too much, and, you know, we've been too lax and, you know, allowed them too much leeway, and it stops now, and blah, 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 blah.
I hope there was a payoff with what Adam Pearce said last night about Roman, like basically saying, and that goes for Roman Reigns too. I hope there's some like confrontation to where like Roman basically makes him piss his pants. Theoretically,
that'd be great.
Because it's easy to say that when Roman's not there, but, you know, let's see what happens when the tribal chief comes around. So, but yeah, so have you guys seen any of this? I know, Michael, you're not, you know, with your cable situation, not always watching on a regular basis, but I don't know if you've seen any of the videos. Kevin, have you been watching Raw at all to where you have a take on this at all?
I did watch a little last week, and I watched most of last night. Can we just talk about Prison Dom real quick? Come on. Dom might start becoming one of my boys. I mean, come on, the teardrop tattoo.
Toothpick.
I've done hard time.
Oh my
going
God.
to prison.
Oh, man.
Him and his mommy.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I really like the stuff they're doing and like building into the ultimate match between him and Ray.
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been pretty good. Like it's gotten to the point. It's gone from the point to like Dom sucks and he's not a good talker and why they make him a heel and why is he not here, this and that, to like he's gonna get you talking. Especially last night. I think it's just like the start of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good, and even the video that they released where he got arrested and he's getting put in the paddy wagon. And he's like, I can't go to jail. Like I won't survive in jail. I'm too, you know. And he's like, call Priest, call Finn, and he's like, Mommy, please help me. Like that shit was really funny.
Oh my God! If he starts calling his dad a gringo, oh my God, it was so good last night.
Oh man, yeah. So. That stuff has been a real bright spot. I'm trying to think of some other things over the last couple of weeks. I mean, the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the Bloodline a little bit though. So, have you kind of got that same NWO type feeling to their attacks, or do you think that's what they're going for, or do you think they're just trying to show their dominance?
I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just happenstance. That I think it's just that's the story they're telling. It's like, okay, we need you to go beat people up in the back. I don't think it's like we need you to be the NWO. I think it's just kind of that's the angle, and it just happens to mirror it.
I don't think there will ever be like another NWO feel ever, unless it was something like, you know, all of a sudden like Matt Jackson showed up, and then the next week Nick Jackson showed up or something. You know, I mean,
and then a month later, fucking Omega is the third man.
Yeah, or Mega's or AJ Styles is the third man or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not those guys because they're not like as far as like as big and intimidating like as Hall and Nash were, but it's something along those lines. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. I just don't see that feel. Like, I think if more than anything, it's I like kind of what they're doing, but like if you're gonna do some kind of hostile, like I don't know, I feel like there could be a different way of doing it. But I'm not like against it or anything.
I'm just sad they didn't lawn dart Rey Mysterio into a trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's the only thing that's missing.
You know, that I see that video play every now and again, and that still makes me laugh every time I watch it. The first time I saw it, it made me laugh, and then every single time after that, it's like one of those things. It's like Ace Ventura in the first Ace Ventura movie when he starts doing the Mission Impossible sneaking to like out of the bathroom, like when he like pretends to slip on the like that makes me laugh every single time, and it's the same with the Ray lawn dart thing. Every single time that shit makes me laugh. But anyway, all right, so yeah, the Bloodline thing, and when I say NWO-esque, I guess I don't necessarily mean like the recreating that storyline. I guess just the backstage beatdowns and stuff like that, kind of like that that brawling, unpredictability. Like you don't know where they're going to show up, who they're going to attack next, and stuff like that. So I guess that's the only thing that kind of drew that comparison for me.
Sense.
But
they're just copying from T-Bar.
Hey, T-Bar has been repackaged as Dijak and is back in NXT, messing with Tony D'Angelo. So I know you guys aren't NXT people anymore, but man, don't sleep on NXT. It's gotten a lot better.
I watched. I tell you what, I watched a little tonight. I watched the opening match between Apollo and was it Dawkins?
No,
or not
it
Dawkins.
was
What the hell's his name?
now you got me thrown off by calling him the wrong name.
He's a North American champion, right?
He's not the North American champion anymore. But honestly, like Carmelo Hayes, and Carmelo Hayes he's going to be a fucking big star. Like that, I have no doubt about that. Like Carmelo Hayes he's the total package.
Yeah, they had a hell of a match. I saw that tonight, and then there was a big the brawl with the women.
Yeah, and that led into that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn match that was really good. So there was
I like Kofi and Xavier being on there, being the tag champs. They had a little backstage thing with Joe Gacy and all of them,
Schism,
which was funny.
That's what you call.
Yeah. And then Kofi and Xavier came out, and they got their new side plates or whatever. And Kofi was like wearing the belt to where like the side plate was showing only. He was just like dancing around, like showing off their side plates.
So you watch more. You watch more of NXT tonight than I did because I kind of tapped out after the whole Schism thing because I got busy doing other stuff. But cool.
Yeah, that's about the most I saw.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't sleep on NXT. Like, it's gotten a lot better. Grayson Waller is another guy that's going to be a big star. He's going to be like a top heel. And the guy literally can do everything. But Carmelo Hayes, I think will be the next one who comes up.
I think I said it before, but I think honestly what's going to bring NXT back over the top again, and even for somebody like me, is once they start going, like, big-time pay-per-views again in front of, like, 10, 15,000 people. Like, like I said, that's what did it. Well, that's what it did for me. Because I remember when you told me, like, hey, Kevin, you really should watch NXT. And I was like, all right. He's like, yeah, they're doing a takeover this week or whatever. And like, I had turned it on. The first ever NXT real match I ever saw was Sasha versus Bailey. So I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah, they're having their Vengeance Day show is coming up, and that's going to be a big arena show. So I think that's their first one that they've done since that WrestleMania takeover they did last year. But yeah, so
and I remember texting you. I was like, Jason, not only was that the best women's match I've ever seen, I said that might be one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Oh, without doubt, yeah. I still don't disagree with you to this day. So speaking, I guess we can kind of talk about Sasha now. So it seems as though Sasha's contract has quietly expired from WWE. So as of January 1st, she's no longer, and she even tweeted out, "Thank you, WWE," today. And there's a lot of rumors that she's going to be appearing at that Wrestle Kingdom show. So, what are our feelings with Sasha Banks being?
Is it rumors? I thought it was confirmed.
Oh, it's confirmed.
Yeah, she's showing up to have a face-to-face with, what was it, Kyrie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and then I didn't know that it's also Mike and I were talking off air. It's also confirmed that Naomi's going to be there, and Bailey's going to be there for support. I guess like they're going to be like in the crowd. So
Naomi's going to be in the crowd, or Naomi's going to be on the show.
From what I heard, she's not part of the show. She's just there to like support Sasha.
Okay.
Like there was like photos of like her today, like in Japan, and then there was also like confirmed that like Bailey's coming over too, just to like she was allowed to go, just to be there. I guess also supposedly like I guess Sasha filed for a trademark. I think like her name's gonna be Moneybanks or something like that, like Mone. I don't know if you guys heard.
She
Monet.
trademarked like a few things, I thought.
Yeah,
But some of them I thought were because she's doing some sort of product line she was doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, good for her. I mean, and we'll see kind of what that leads to and what happens. I feel like she'd be eventually come back to WWE no matter what she does. I don't know if I necessarily would see her in AEW. I think Japan is really where she wants to be.
Her price tag's too much for AEW.
She's wanted to be in Japan
honestly,
for a long time, so.
Yeah, and honestly, like they have like, I know they have shows here and there, but like they have like 2 big shows, like this one, and then there's like one in June or something like that. Like honestly, if she just worked those, you know what I mean, like now and then, if she wasn't going to be like a full-time thing, and I guarantee she'd probably make a shit ton of money just doing those 2 shows.
I mean, I think she's making like, I thought I read somewhere it was close to like $100K just for this one appearance.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, on top of everything else she does, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, she could be like Mandy Rose and just start showing off her butthole and making $1 million. So
just be a fucking millionaire, Jesus!
In 1 month, like it's to the point where even the website tweeted like, "Thank you, or congrats to Mandy Sachs for making $1 million in 1 month to end the year."
Somebody like I don't know if it was some other podcast or somebody whatever, like retweeted that. And they're like, "That's it. We're starting a so and so such and such OnlyFans page."
So I mean, we joke about it every week on Toy Fair. So
here's my thing though, and good for her. And if she can make that kind of money and not have to put her body on the line, if that's what she wants to do, that's fine. But don't forget where you made that fan base. Don't forget where you got your name, and the more time you spend away from that spotlight, the less interesting you become. And the less these people are going to quote unquote simp for her. I feel like that. I feel
highly underestimate horny, lonely men on the internet.
But at the same time though, if you're seeing the same shit over and over and over again, eventually you're gonna get bored of that. And I mean,
she seems to be ramping it up more and more every time. Hence why.
Yeah, but I still think eventually.
Do you have any details on that, Michael?
Unless
I'm too poor to afford $40.
Yeah, right. But unless
what the fuck's that?
Unless she's really going to really ramp it up, I think eventually the base that she has will die off, and then she's not going to gain that many more new fans because she's not on TV every week. I think once she's no longer on TV every week, that's gonna start hurting her. And I think eventually she's going to be in a position where I kind of have to go back and do something. If she
loses 50% of her base, that's still $500,000 a month, Jason.
No, dude, trust me, I get it, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight.
She lose 90% of her base, and she'd be set for life.
I'm not going to say.
I mean, yeah, even after taxes.
Yeah,
she's fine.
But I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight or it's going to happen right away. I'm just saying over time. And that's the thing, Michael, though. If you're used to making $1 million a month and you're living like you're making $1 million a month, and I don't know if you've noticed, have you noticed the car? Like, she's dating that, he was in NXT for a while, that Tino Sabatelli guy or whatever. I mean, they're rolling up in new Bentleys and I mean, the stuff that I don't know, all that money she spends on lingerie and clothes for her fan page and stuff like that. I mean,
you have to think about that's a drop in the bucket if you do $1 million in a month, and if you are
a Bentley is not a Bentley
she still hasn't done.
A Bentley is not a drop in a bucket.
Plus, honestly, like with the money
for $100 million a month, it's a drop in the bucket.
Plus the money she's already made in WWE, we don't know how she's invested.
Yeah, and not to mention
she may have a shit ton in the bank.
She still hasn't done full frontal anything, so she still can stretch this out and just show a little for fucking next 2 years and keep this up.
Possibly. I just think people will draw bored of it after a while, and then once she loses that core audience, then where's she getting new fans from? That's my thing. I just feel like eventually that could be a problem.
Social media.
Yeah, I'm just saying eventually it could be a problem for her. I'm not saying
you
it's
just
going
sound
to
like
be.
a salty wrestling fan who's mad at her for WWE firing her.
Let's face it. With the money she's already earned, I'm sure everything mostly she has, house, cars, are all paid off.
Mm-hmm.
she's to the point where she's like, okay, I just need to make enough to pay my utilities and gas and insurance.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
And if she can
instead of
find a way to
sushi.
do that, that's not breaking her back performing in a wrestling ring. More power to her. If she wants to do that, go for it. I don't know. I just see down the road, like I feel like eventually that well will dry up and her name wouldn't be there. But I don't know. Whatever. Who knows? I could be wrong. I'm just looking at it from a devil's advocate
I hope it.
perspective. But
Yeah, she hopes her well will definitely not dry up.
her fiance
remember
definitely
why.
helps that well doesn't dry up.
Uh,
So
Oh.
anyway, all right. So we talked about Mandy. That's big news. Did you guys get to see any of the Shinsuke and Great Muta match that happened at Noah? I got to watch some of that match. It was really fucking good.
I watched the entrance though.
Yeah, the
yeah,
entrance
the
was
entrance
cool.
was awesome.
I mean,
How about sucking out the green mist out of Muda's mouth
and then
and
spitting
blowing
it
it
back
back
in
in
his
Muda's
face.
face?
Did not know about that. That's some
you
OnlyFans
guys-
shit right there.
Did you guys hear what Muda said after?
No.
He said, "Thank you, Daddy. Can I have some more?"
No, and I'm not gonna totally repeat what he said. But let's just say he, somebody started calling him the Great Bigot instead of the Great Muda, because they asked him about that. He said, I don't know, maybe he's a
Use the F word.
F word,
Yeah.
and maybe he's a Q word. So
so that image of
So
the
was
two of
that
them-
Yeah.
not planned? I'm very confused. I assume a spot like that would be planned.
I mean,
I don't know. Somebody might be making it up too. I don't know. Maybe they mistranslated it or something. Who the hell knows? But
so basically, what you're saying then is that the image of them walking arm in arm up the ramp and basically looking like they just went
it's
through
probably
a
a great
brawl.
mood of saying. It's probably a great mood of saying, "I got one more thing at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm done, and probably going away. Fuck you guys. I don't care."
Yeah, he's just that old man that's gonna say whatever he wants to say at this point.
Yeah.
So okay, that makes sense. I'll buy it.
I say because there was a picture of them on the internet, both with the mist covered to their face. So I was just very confused.
All right.
I think Muda blew it like the beginning of the match. That's usually one thing he always does.
Yeah, both of them did
and
have
I
stuff
think
on their
that
faces.
yeah.
So
Which actually somebody real quick, and Jason, you might like this. I guess there was a match back in '96. Remember Quang? Who
yeah.
he wrestled in WWF and he blew green mist.
Okay.
There was a match. Somebody tweeted it that he blew green mist in the Undertaker's face, and the Undertaker did not sell it. He went like this to his face, and then all of a sudden he blew green mist back at Quang. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not seen that.
I'll have to find it and send it to you. Whatever. I thought it was the most it was awesome to see.
You remember that one our one fan that reached out to us wanted us to watch a Quang match on Wrestling Challenge, that we still need to do that.
Oh my god! Why?
I must not have been here for that.
Oh my god! It was the weirdest request ever.
Yeah, it was a request to watch a
this
Wrestling
Quang
Challenge
match
from
from-
19. It was Quang versus Hakushi from a wrestling challenge. So yeah, we'll have to go back and do that at some point. Crap! I kind of was trying to do something and lost my train of thought because now I'm.
Because you were so excited about Shinsuke sucking some mist out of someone's mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been it.
So Wrestle Kingdom is starting in what, couple hours here?
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's only 12 hours long.
Yeah, it's starting at 1:20 our time.
Oh,
Because
cool.
right now it's technically nighttime on the 4th in Japan.
Nice.
So yeah, 12 matches on the card. I mean, to me, honestly, the only ones I'd want to see were obviously Omega, Ospreay, and then Okada and Jay White. Outside of that,
You don't
I
want to
did-
see Carl Anderson?
Carl Anderson and Tonga would be good.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. With Carl Anderson and AJ got hurt. Did you guys see that AJ got hurt at a house show or a live event? So with AJ hurt and Carl Anderson in Japan, that
Luke
means
Gallows.
Gallows was on Raw alone, basically just kind of thrown himself in wherever. He was just kind of like the
Sup,
lonely
guys?
duck. He just didn't really have a home. He involved himself in the bloodline melee, and then that was really about it because they didn't use him after that. But yeah, it was kind of funny.
I was surprised he didn't go to Japan with Anderson.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. To be honest with you, but maybe they didn't.
I've been seeing all day. They've been tweeting like they had like their press conferences and stuff like they do. I got the one with Ospreay and Omega was awesome.
Yeah,
like Don Callis. Yeah, Don Callis, what he said was just amazing. So, yeah, I'm really interested. I'm wondering if Omega takes the title.
Speaking,
because
I don't know, man. Like
because from what I heard is they signed a deal to do like a rematch like in AEW. So I wonder if Omega takes the title and then maybe Ospreay takes it back in AEW. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I could.
But when do you do that? Because they've got the trios thing here in like 2 weeks.
Well, they got the trios thing
finale.
like literally every week. And speaking of which, no,
they just finished the 6th match. The 7th match is here and
next Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man! Like I am so ready for that shit to be over. Like I don't know. Like
the sixth match was probably the best of them so far.
Oh man, I don't know. Like I feel like they've all been.
It should get better as you go, not worse.
I feel like they've all been the same match though. Like it seriously is just that running spot where they all like jump on top of each other outside the ring and all that. Like they do that in every match. Like it's literally just been the same shit. And the fact that they're playing up the whole like coming down from the 3-1 deficit, that is so, TNT or TBS being like the home, TNT being the home of the NBA.
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
feel like they're just sucking off like the Cavs championship run, basically.
Oh my God. I just realized the Elite's going to come out in Cavs uniforms.
Right? I was thinking the same thing, dude.
My God, that would be amazing.
I mean, it'd be cool as Cavs fans and stuff like that.
LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love jerseys.
Yeah,
make it happen.
But that was in 2016. Like it was a long ass time ago. I don't know. It's just weird. It's been. I'm glad that it's finally going to be over. I'm curious. I'm sure the Elite's going to win, right? I mean, how do they not at this point? But
they'll win. Then they'll have to have a rematch for.
I don't know.
Death Triangle.
And speaking of the Elite, we're gonna get we're gonna have to go to our live correspondent on CM Punk to give us an update on everything that's going on with CM Punk. Michael, you are our CM Punk mark extraordinaire. Can you please give us a CM Punk update for this episode of the podcast?
Yes. So if you haven't heard, Dax has a podcast now, and in this podcast, he talked about the fact that he feels that the Elite and Punk and everyone should just make up because there's a lot of money to be made. And this made its way to Instagram, to which CM Punk actually commented on the post saying, duh. So either it's a giant troll where he just is trying to make them look like the assholes, or it's what I've been saying for months and it's a fucking work. Because he's still an active member of the roster. So, like, they got to be trying to work something out. Otherwise, why is Tony Khan still paying him?
So, supposedly, Dax has gotten in some heat with members of the AEW locker room for his comments.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
So, there are still people within AEW that never want to see CM Punk again, and Chris Jericho is on the top of that list.
Well, Chris Jericho is on the tail end of his career anyway, and let's face it, most of the other guys who probably don't want to see a CM Punk are a bunch of low to mid card AEW dark roster people.
Except for Hangman Page.
And also don't say that CM Punk's on the tail end of his. Jericho's fucking 20 years older than him.
Yeah, but I still don't see, like, Punk still has more years behind him than he has ahead of him if he ever even wrestles again.
Yeah, but that's not the same as Jericho being a fucking geriatric trying to fucking hang with the young crowd.
Isn't Jericho like 8 years older than him?
Yeah, he's not that much older.
He's like 15.
He's not.
He's 51.
Punk's in his 40s.
I thought it was Jason's age.
Oh.
Yeah, Punk's in his...
I'm younger than that. Fuck you. I'm more closer to Punk's age than Jericho's age.
I thought you got to go for Medicaid last month.
Yeah, right. I'm not fucking that old. God damn. All right. So, is there anything else on the CM Punk front for this week, or just the Dax podcast?
That's the only thing new I've heard. I mean, Dax has come out in interviews and like praised Punk and stuff, but let's face it, the revival is on their way out anyway, so he's just gonna fucking burn whatever bridge he can on the like with that company because he's like fuck them.
Can you imagine?
Because they've done the revival so bad over the past year.
Can you imagine if Punk came back to WWE with the revival?
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Then
you get Punk in the revival versus
there's
Bloodline.
your hostile takeover.
Yeah, that would be your hostile takeover. That's your NWO level storyline right there. You get Punk as the third man.
Punk shows up. He's like, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here."
Yeah. and you know Punk. He'll wear the jean vest and jeans and combat boots.
But Punk would be the Hogan in this situation. So is he coming out in spandex to drop a leg?
Oh my god!
I just can't wait for the pop.
I mean, he does have the long tights now.
I just can't wait for the pop when you hear "Say yeah."
Yeah.
Their theme music in WWE was so much better than anything they've had in AEW.
I really like the current one.
No, yeah, the old school kind of
like
Jim Crockett type.
It's like
one,
the Midnight Express.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is fun, but I still like their WWE theme the best. Let's see what else we got. AEW wise.
Oh, also real quick, Dax did confirm because apparently there was like an altercation between him and Bobby Fish at one point, and he was like, "Yeah, there was a whole thing where like I thought he was trying to do something, so I punched Kyle, and we had a huge brawl in the back, but later on we like made up."
So how many like fucking fights are happening backstage in AEW? I mean,
apparently a lot. Like Tony Khan has zero fucking control over this roster.
I mean, we just got people throwing punches at each other backstage left and right now.
Yeah, you got the fucking Revival and Red Dragon. You've got Kingston and Guevara. We've got Punk and the Elite. We've got
so to add to that, have you guys heard all this stuff going on with Jeff Jarrett and the Acclaim?
Mm-mm.
Oh wait, so this is real? Because their fucking rap video, I tagged you guys on it on TikTok. I don't know if you watched it or not.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Their rap
when he
video
said the line about
crazy.
Yeah. So I just listened to
Was this about his wife?
Yes, and Kurt Angle, and which caused like Karen Jarrett to come out saying that Kurt Angle basically slept with Kelly and Dawn Marie and like a bunch of other people or something like that while they were married.
And Kelly has said that was 100% false. She's like, the only connection I have to Kurt is we were co-workers.
Yeah. So he came out and like, so listen to my world today for like the first like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes.
Is that Wardlow's new podcast?
No, it's
Jeff Jarrett's
podcast.
Yeah.
It's his podcast.
Because Wardlow's world, so I thought it was my world was his podcast.
No. So he basically like the way he talks, like he said like that the Acclaim went into business for themselves, and because they have done that before.
Yeah, they're allowed
I know
to.
It's pro wrestling. It's all work, brother. I know, but like the way like
that's the whole crux of how AEW is built, though, is that they go into business for themselves. There's no structure there. They don't have anybody saying, "This is what I want you to do. This is what I." There's no repercussions for it at all. But sorry, go ahead.
Basically, Jeff Jarrett said that their match is happening tomorrow night. He said he's got a couple receipts coming. He says, "I'm not going to do any backstage fighting like a bunch of other fucking people." But basically, he's like, "I'm a professional. I'm going to work the match and everything." But he does have some receipts coming. Listen to the podcast, Jason, and tell me what you think. Like,
but I mean,
he knows, but I'm not going to listen to it.
But they,
well, I know, yeah.
I'll probably listen to it. But he's used that though. Like they use that whole thing to create controversy between him and Conrad during the whole Ric Flair thing, though, too. So I take
one, like Conrad's like on Jeff Jarrett's side.
Well, yeah,
so
but
it's
I mean,
weird. Like
I don't know. I
I don't
think
know. I still, it's Jeff Jarrett. He's a fucking carny fuck.
he
I think
really
it's a
is.
works.
He really is, and they called him that in the music video too. So,
Really?
yeah, I'm
Oh
telling
yeah.
you, you need to. I tagged you in it. Just go. I shared it with you on TikTok. Go
I'd
watch
heard
it.
about them talking shit about his wife, but I didn't actually get a chance to watch it.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, Max pulled no punches at all in this video. Like even with Jay Lethal, like talking about how I've never had to imitate somebody to get over. You're more famous for being other people than you are yourself, and like stuff like that. Like, I mean, he went on both of them. But Jeff Jarrett, he had a couple of extra digs on there, but he did call him Carney at one point in the song too. But I don't know, man. Like I can see Jeff Jarrett just using his podcast as a vehicle to help perpetuate the storyline. I don't
Yeah, 100%.
necessarily believe that he's really that pissed off about it. Like I feel like he's, I guess we'll see when we watch the match. Like if he comes a lot stiffer than what he normally does, because you could probably tell,
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett is a good worker. You could probably tell if he's
And I
pause.
will say he did a hell of a job, like though on the podcast. Like if it is a work,
I mean,
like
also the initial tweet, because I didn't see the tweet about Kelly and all that, but his wife, like Wrestle talked about it. The first tweet she did was just like, "Oh, you really messed up now. Now it's you're gonna get what's coming to you." Like it was just very worky. Didn't seem like something that someone would naturally tweet.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, she definitely took it
so
far by calling out women by name and saying, "Oh, this person, and this person are the reason why I left Kurt." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
and I don't know. And all that happened, she's naming people in WWE, but their marriage dissolved when he was in TNA, and she ended up being with Jeff because she was a part of TNA
Yeah.
with Kurt for a while. So I don't know. I think it was just kind of weird how, unless the timeline's off, maybe she was already with Jeff before, all that, and they just turned it into a storyline because, people didn't know the real story, which is definitely a possibility,
Mhm.
but who knows?
yeah.
I don't know. It's Jeff Jarrett. He's a carny at heart, so I have no doubt that he would use his
Yes,
podcast
and
to
even think about
propel
it.
that story.
Even if you look at it from a business standpoint, why wouldn't he do something on his podcast? And guess what? Guarantee his fucking listens went up.
Yeah, and that might even draw some ratings for the match too, because now you get this blood feud that people are going to want to tune in and see. That they're using a vehicle to promote that. Like first the rap, like that was a vehicle to promote it, and then Jeff, he's not going to write a battle country song, so he's going to do what he can do. And
Oh my god! If only though.
Oh my god.
Well, he doesn't have Road Dogg
Like
to
back
sing
in the
it for
day
him,
with
so.
fucking Kurt Hennig and
In
those
my
country people.
days working hard on the go.
So somebody had brought up on Road Dogg. They did a Ask Road Dogg Anything on his show, and they're like, "How do you feel about the potential of Jeff Jarrett facing off against Billy Gunn in AEW? Who would you root for?" Because those are his two ride or dies, basically. But yeah. Anything else in AEW? I know the whole MJF thing. Ricky Starks really showed up and handled himself with the promos, and then it's looking like, who's MJF's opponent gonna be? Why am I blanking all of a sudden?
Brian Danielson.
Oh yeah, Brian Danielson. Holy shit! Wow. Yeah. So that they're kind of going that route. And that's the shame is that there's really no win there because if Danielson loses, that's another feud that he loses for the championship and doesn't win, and just puts over another guy to help build them. But if MJF wins, like people really want to see Danielson as champion, so it's gonna be a no-win situation. I think either way.
Yeah, it does suck because you don't want to take it off MJF already,
right?
With all this build up. I think the biggest thing that hurt it is just the fact that Regal wanted out, and I feel like he was a big part of it. Well, the first thing that hurt it was the Punk fiasco, and then when they pivoted to the Firm, and then that didn't go the way they wanted it, so they went to the Regal angle, and then Regal didn't want to be around, so like this entire like run for MJF has just been riddled with just like shit getting in its way. It's literally like how he described every big moment he's had in AEW has been overshadowed by something else.
Right.
Now his title run is being overshadowed by all this other bullshit that's like fucking up his potential rivalries.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a year left on his contract, right? The Great War of
Bidding War of 2024.
So we'll see how long that he's gonna carry that for. Trying to think something else. Oh, in the whole thing with the firm, they kind of shifted gears towards Jungle Boy. I guess with Luchasaurus being hurt, they needed another monster for him to get beat up by, so they kind of pivoted to Big Bill. Is what they're calling
Big
him
ass.
now. Yeah, Big Bill, real creative.
Big Bad Bill.
But then, to kind of the shock of a lot of people, Hook came to the aid of Jungle Boy against the firm. So they're kind of establishing Hook more on Dynamite now. They're kind of moving him off of Rampage onto Dynamite, and his first big storyline is teaming up with Jack Perry. So kind of the little guys teaming up together to go up against some big guys. What do you think of the pairing of Hook and it seems like it might last a little longer than his association with Danhausen, but Hook and Jungle Boy, you don't have a good moniker to call them like Hookhausen or anything like that.
Hook Boy.
Hook Boy?
Yeah. Jungle Hook.
Jungle Hook. Dude. I don't know. I think it's very odd. Let's put the two hobbits up against the fucking tree man. Like, it doesn't quite make sense to me, but good for them.
Dude, if Hook heard you call him a hobbit, he would just fucking snitch you up in that red room so fast and have you tapping.
It doesn't make the fact that he's still a hobbit. I mean, you can't deny what genetics did to you, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess I just want to see him try to do that shit to a man who's like 3 times his size, because he's been doing it to like normal size dudes or dudes his own size for months and looked like this badass. And I'm like, well, this is your moment.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, he's had a couple things where he's they've had a couple of scrums, but they haven't had a match yet. So I'll be curious to see in a match how he fares against somebody that size, if they can still make it look believable. All right, let's see. And then
I have a feeling that big ass is just gonna fucking lift him up and like place him in the corner.
So
bad.
I don't want to take up too much more time because we got about an hour left, or not an hour left. We've been going for almost an hour. But before we wrap up, before we wrap up, we got to talk about Bray Wyatt and the whole thing that's been going on with Bray. Like, dude, the nuances of this story have just been getting so crazy. It's just like, especially if you tie in what's been going on with Alexa Bliss over on Raw and how that has zero tie-in to the things that are going on in SmackDown other than the symbol flashing and all that stuff. And
the Uncle Howdy mask guy.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago you have
that security got confused about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago you have an emergence of a character that, or maybe it was 3 weeks ago, but it was who we all thought was Uncle Howdy, right? So he had the top hat, he had
the jolly fucker.
He had the chubby cheek mask with the weird mustache, the eye droopy and stuff like that. And he just kind of stood at the entrance and kind of laughed as Bray was getting kicked, a mud hole stomped in him by LA Knight, right? So then LA Knight was confused, he backed off. So then this week, Bray, he attacked a camera guy, gave him a mandible claw. But then this week, another guy comes out wearing, to me, it looked like a different mask. And
I mean, it is technically a different mask, but it's the original Uncle Howdy mask.
But yeah, so then they're referring to this guy as Uncle Howdy. And now he stands, and he's a noticeably smaller guy. Like, this guy is not as big as the guy that came out a couple weeks ago.
He's not as jolly.
and he stands next to Bray and then gives him the Sister Abigail. And then to LA Knight during this whole thing, I don't know who it was, but somebody said that this was going to hurt LA. This whole storyline is going to hurt LA Knight. I don't think so at all. Like, LA Knight has held his own both on the microphone and in just general how he's reacted to things has been perfect and spot on and sold it even more. So I have no issue with LA Knight. I think he's doing a phenomenal job in this role.
Same.
But man, it's confusing. Kevin, do you think that the two characters, do you think that that's the same character? I know Michael's opinion. He thinks it's the same character. Do you think that's the same character, or do you think these are two different characters? I'm just trying to save time. I'll let you have your piece, but
I think it's the same character. Just like roll two people.
But it's a different mask. I think
that doesn't matter, Jason.
It does matter.
Evolve.
It's a different mask. But the thing is, they've showed both masks throughout the whole thing, because the mask that this character was wearing.
Have we seen Chubby Howdy since?
But Chubby Howdy has only been on the vignettes, and he's been backstage. That's the only time he was ever out on camera. But they've showed that mask multiple times, but they've also still showed the mask that the other character, the other Howdy, was wearing on this week's SmackDown. Bray had that mask on when he came back initially. So it's a different mask. So it makes me think that they're two fucking different characters. Not that hard to tell. So if it's a different mask, it's different characters.
I think the Wyatt Six rumored faction, I think it's a We Are Howdy situation. I think there's going to be multiple people playing the different faces of Uncle Howdy. But they're all going to be Uncle Howdy.
Okay, so...
And their theme music has to start with We Are Howdy. Bum, 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 bum.
So then who was the guy standing next to Bray then? Was that Bo Dallas or was that Vincent?
Yeah, that was 100% Bo Dallas. This past Friday, that was Bo Dallas.
Yeah, I think so.
There's no denying it.
Okay.
Like the side-by-side photos of that goatee, and like it's got to be Bo. If it's not Bo, I'd be stunned.
What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I think it's Bo.
Okay. Do you think Vincent is a part of the Bray Wyatt thing at all, or do you think he's going to show up on like NXT? Because this is a guy that WWE has signed, and he's a guy that supposedly is coming soon, but they haven't advertised him, haven't shown him at all. But he fits, like, especially like in his other things that he did, he kind of fits into that Bray Wyatt type mold.
And didn't he also post a picture of himself holding a jacket like that, like literally right after the Chubby Howdy?
I believe so. Yeah. But he's also not that size though either.
No.
I don't know. And then the whole thing with Alexa Bliss, like she's in a championship match and then she sees the symbol and it, like, stops her in her tracks, and she attacks a referee. Then she beats the shit out of Bianca and makes Bianca's face go all bloody. Like, that was just fucking crazy. And then she broke a vase on her head the week before. So how's that tie into it? Like, what? Like, I just want to know when we're gonna get the answers to all these questions. I guess for me, that's the big.
It's taken too long, in my opinion. Like,
probably when we least suspect it.
I'm all for the long storytelling, but there's a difference between long and drawn out. Long is you're continuing a story and like paying it off later on without having to constantly be talking about it. This is just like shit or get off the pot, because we've been playing and dancing around this thing for almost 2 months now.
Before he even came back. It's been longer.
Yeah. I'm not even counting the buildup of the QR codes and all the bullshit and everything.
But the
fucking
QR codes
rabbit people running around the background.
And the QR codes haven't even really stopped. Like they still sneak them in now and again. Like it's been, I don't know. To me, it's intriguing. I've been enjoying it, but I've also been watching it week to week to week and getting these little things. So I've been totally fine with it.
My problem is just with it is they're not explaining enough, because you don't have to necessarily reveal it, but there's no like explanation of what Howdy is. to Bray, aside from just this evil entity that is supposed to be one of his personalities, but then apparently it's a separate entity. And
Well, Bray
like,
Bray seems uncomfortable by him and almost like he wants to ignore him, because anytime that
so Uncle
anytime that
Howdy was Uncle Diddley.
anytime that the LA Knight kind of makes reference and he's like, shut up, don't listen to him, just ignore him, whatever. Like he tries to like play it off as almost like he's not there or doesn't exist or something like that. So I mean, it's like one of those things where I think he's trying to like he's trying to put distance between himself and that character, where that character is trying to draw him in closer.
I don't know. I feel like at this point, Bray Wyatt, the character, is the problem. Like I'm uninterested in Bray and more interested in what the fuck is going on with Howdy, and that wasn't the case with the Fiend. Like the Fiend and Neighbor Bray both felt like different characters that I was equally invested in. And at this point, I'm sick of seeing Bray Wyatt. I'm just like, I don't give a shit about Bray. I want to know what Uncle Howdy did to him in the shack behind the fucking house when he was a kid or something. Like, give me something.
Kev, you got an opinion here?
I mean, I just think it's gonna be like at least when we least suspect it. I don't know. I think just it's been the build or whatever, and
I feel like it's got to be Rumble, right? Like this is leading to a match between him and
they're having a match called
LA Knight,
a pitch black match. So it's a gimmick match. So I don't know exactly what that means. No, not really. They just said it's gonna be a pitch black match, and it's sponsored by Mountain Dew Pitch Black. So it's like a sponsored match.
Oh my god!
God, he's all over again.
So
I swear to God, if LA Knight doesn't come out like Stone Cold with a couple fucking Mountain Dews.
Oh, I know. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Oh my god.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close it out with that then. Michael, you got anything you want to talk about before I wrap up the show?
Of course. Go over to youtube.com/Modern Toy Fair, where me, Jamar, and Nate every Friday talk about different topics regarding the toy and action figure world. I do weekly reviews on Mondays and Let's Pose videos on Tuesdays. And then we have our weekly live stream where we go over our purchases on Wednesdays. And you can check us out Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Modern Toy Fair. You can also go to tpublic.com or not / anything and search Modern Toy Fair or Gimmick Minute to find shirts for logos on them and other shit that I've made.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for all that, sir. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you being a part of our show each and every week until the Royal Rumble when the Cardonas come back and you're going to officially leave the podcast.
Yep, that'll be my fuck you, fire me moment.
Did you see the tweet that I sent you?
Apparently not. Or it would have responded to it.
He tweeted out and said, "What's the worst action figure of all time?" And I was like, "Oh, I feel like this is setting you up."
Yeah, this is setting you up, Michael. I'm waiting I'm waiting for.
But then I wasn't sure because when I tried to tag you in it, it didn't pull you up at first. So I thought maybe he blocked you, but I don't know.
I mean, I haven't interacted with him, but it's possible because a couple years ago during the pandemic times, I was a part of their Patreon Facebook group, and I called him out for the fact that he was having his mob go and cyberbully people that he didn't like, and he didn't like that very much and accused me of clout chasing and all this, and I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that kind of wraps up the show. You can always listen to the show on Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. But if you want to watch us live, you can try us at twitch.tv/Gimmick Minute. So you can join in on the live broadcast and comment during the show and let us know what you think about the topics that we're bringing up. In addition to that, you can find out all the information about our show at our Twitter at Live Your Gimmick. That is the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK.
MOUSE.
There it is. It's late,
Yeah,
but there
we
it
didn't
is.
get it. Did we? Yeah,
We didn't do it at the beginning.
Yeah, we did not. So you can also find us on TikTok by searching Gimmick Minute. YouTube, again, search Gimmick Minute. You'll be able to find episodes that get posted. And also, like, anytime, we go to shows, sometimes I'll post videos from the crowd and stuff like that. So, join our stuff and follow us and subscribe and share with your friends. We are really popular in Canada right now, apparently. We were ranked in the top 100 on the Canadian charts. So, USA, what's going on, man? Like, you're going to let Canada outdo you? Like, we need to get back charting in the USA. So, share with your friends. In Canada, keep it up. We're apparently heart popular in Canada, so let's keep that shit up. But but no, thank you guys all for listening. Really appreciate it. Again, make sure you interact with us, tweet at us, leave us a comment on Apple, however you want to do it. But we want to hear any fan interaction we can get, or join us next week on Tuesday night, usually about 10 p.m. Eastern, when we go live on twitch.tv/Gimmick Minute. For Michael and Kevin, my name is Jason, reminding all of you beautiful, beautiful fans out there to be a fan and always, always, always live your gimmick. Goodbye, everybody.